Welcome to AK Anime Explainer. Today is explanation of Soul Land 3, Legend of the Dragon King Part 286. Without any delay, start explanation. Tang Wulin and the white-haired girl's expression suddenly changed. They shifted their gazes toward the cafe's entrance. Pa! The cafe's door was heavily pushed open. A dozen beam assault rifle-bearing soldiers clad in military uniform charged into the cafe. They aimed their rifles at the customers in the cafe. Surprised screams filled the cafe for some time. Tang Wulin slightly squinted his eyes, his gaze was still slightly dull. From the looks of the attire and equipment of these soldiers, they were certainly from the army. Why had the army suddenly appeared here? Could they be here for Sister Mo Lan? Of course, a dozen soldiers showing up was nothing difficult to handle. However, this was the Mingdu city. The most elite army was stationed here. If a problem arose, it most probably was something big. No matter how powerful he was as an individual, it would not be easy for him to rescue Sister Mo Lan if the army was set on dealing with her. We're here on official army business. Everyone hold your heads down and don't move. Commence search for the suspect. The cafe was not big, to begin with. When a dozen soldiers charged in, they had basically filled up the whole shop. Tang Wulin stared at the people before him with a sleepy expression and dull gaze. Various thoughts suddenly crossed his mind. Could it be an information leak from Tang's sect? Ji Chi's side? Or maybe someone from Sister Mo Lan's side? Stop! At this very moment, Mo Lan suddenly shouted. She stopped the soldiers who were about to search the customers. Her eyes were filled with anger. Which department are you from? Who gave you the permission to search for a suspect in broad daylight? Where's your warrant? Let me see it. Where is it? Tang Wulin was standing beside Mo Lan. He was shocked to notice how this big sister of his was remarkably different from before. The old her was fearless. She was even willing to sacrifice herself to protect the passengers. However, she definitely did not have this imposing manner back then. Her aura alone could even intimidate him. The soldiers who were prepared to start their operation ceased when heard her voice. Tang Wulin seemingly stood beside Mo Lan without hesitation. He shielded her from the beam assault rifles that were aimed at her. Which department we're from? Who are you to ask that? A second lieutenant coldly said, Search them. We cannot afford to let the suspect get away. Mo Lan grunted angrily. Who dares? Is the military this ruthless? You get your salary from the Federation and enjoy the share of the people. You're not given these privileges so that you can lord over the people and make a fortune from it. I would love to see who's daring enough to act rashly today. Xiao Bai, call the police and inform them of the situation here. Wulin, disarm them and don't let any one of them get away. If the army is unable to give us an explanation, I won't let this issue go. Mo Lan's imposing manner made the officer's expression change. If he had thought that Mo Lan only appeared tough outwardly but was timid inwardly before, now he had no such thoughts in his mind. If she was like that, there was no way for her to be so domineering. Nobody move. He angrily shouted with haste. He must control the situation first. However, Tang Wulin had already started moving. Just like how he controlled the few delinquents yesterday, he only took a light step with his right foot on the ground. He sent Golden Dragon shakes the Earth's attacking power with his extremely powerful spiritual power to the feet of the dozen soldiers with absolute precision. The leading second lieutenant's voice abruptly stopped. In the next moment, Tang Wulin made a circle with his arms. A dozen soldiers were pulled together by controlling crane capturing Dragon as they sat on the cafe's floor. Tang Wulin walked over and slowly confiscated their beam assault rifles. Then, he smacked each one of them in turns to seal their bloodlines. When he had completed this process, the white-haired girl whom Mo Lan addressed as Xiao Bao had not even got enough time to dial the number. Mo Lan had known that Tang Wulin was strong. Back then, it was precisely because of Tang Wulin's actions that the entire car of passengers was saved. He had even become the current Shrek 7 Monsters captain. However, Mo Lan never thought that the current Tang Wulin was already this powerful. A faint smile appeared on Tang Wulin's face. He turned around and nodded towards Mo Lan. Xiao Bai had already dialed the number. It was only now that Mo Lan told to the customers within the cafe. Everyone, there's no need to panic. Please be patient for a while. I'm Mo Lan, a member of the Federal Parliament. I guarantee everyone that you're safe. I'll make sure that the army gives an explanation with regard to the unjust treatment the army just gave you. I apologize to everyone here on behalf of the Federation. As she said this, Mo Lan bowed towards the people of her own accord. Mo Lan? When they heard this name, the frightened customers in the cafe instantly calmed down. Some of them even started discussing. It was clear that they had heard Mo Lan's name before. Mo Lan had comforted the customers and Xiao Bai had ended her call. At this moment, the low sound of an explosion came from the outside. With Tang Wulin's understanding of current weapons, he could recognize that this was the sound made by a landing mecha. After the entire process just now, the first thing Tang Wulin could be sure of was that these soldiers were not here for Sister Mo Lan. Otherwise, they would not be intimidated by her. If they were not here for Sister Mo Lan, who were they after? He had taken a look just now. Other than Xiao Bai and himself, there was no other soul master present. Could it be that they were here for him? A voice came from outside. Attention to the people inside, we suspect that there's a wanted criminal among you. We ask that you come out with your hands above your heads. You have 30 seconds. If nobody comes out after 30 seconds, our mechas will begin their attacks. To avoid being caught in the crossfire, please come out with your hands above your heads immediately. Mo Lan started laughing from her extreme anger. Good, very good. I'd like to see who dares to mobilize the army for such activities. I'll go out first. She strode outside as she said this. Xiao Bai dared not slack off. She hastily followed her out of the cafe. Mo Lan was only an ordinary person. If she was hit by a mecha's attack, there was no way that she would be safe. Before she went out, she glared at Tang Wulin. If it were not for this fellow, Sister Mo Lan would not have been exposed to such a dangerous situation. However, she could not help but be stunned when she glared at Tang Wulin. Before this, she had always been at the side and she had not seen Tang Wulin's face from the front after he removed his cap. Only now did she get a clear look at his face. Why is this fellow this good looking? Even as a female, Xiao Bai could not help but feel envious of him. Why is this man so handsome? Tang Wulin naturally walked at Mo Lan's side. He walked out of the cafe with her. They exited the cafe. Mechas were already pointing their weapons at the cafe's door. Two of them were yellow mechas while the other two were surprisingly purple mechas. Hands above your heads? A rude voice came from the mecha. However, Mo Lan was unperturbed and fearless. She angrily shouted, "Mechas are the army's important tools. Should they be used by you to threaten the people? I will impeach all of you in the parliament for this." Xiao Bai, remember their mecha serial numbers. Every military mecha had their own serial number. This was to facilitate the army to manage them. Hands above your heads, do you hear me? A mecha master's position was not something that could be compared to ordinary soldiers. Clearly, these mecha masters were not intimidated by Mo Lan. A deafening police siren sounded on the streets at this very moment. They were long and unbroken as they came towards their direction. The police had come? Sitting within the purple mecha, Tang San's expression slightly changed. Although the army was not afraid of the police and even had a higher position, this was still Mingtu City. According to federal law, security within the city was the responsibility of the police. They had been ordered to capture a person today. If they had done it swiftly, naturally there would not be any problem. However, if they had to face the police, although their superiors were unafraid, they would be faced with some troubles. The more important thing was, they had not captured the person whom they had to. "Captain, it's him." At this very moment, the other purple mecha raised its arm and pointed in towards Tang Wulin. Tang San decisively moved and shouted, "Capture him." The purple mecha beside him raised its soul cannon and fired a loud shot. A cluster of light shot out of the barrel and swiftly erupted forth. It turned into an electric net and charged towards Tang Wulin. Tang Wulin took a step forward and shielded Mo Lan behind himself. Just as he had expected, they were here for him. He had only recently arrived at Mingtu City. Who was it? He had ruled out Tang Sect. If there was a spy in Tang Sect, there was no way that they would not know that he would be with Parliament member, and they would not have mobilized the army so rashly. If it was not Tang Sect, could it be? The wet silhouette swiftly appeared in his mind. He threw a simple and direct punch. A low bang erupted in the air. He did not use any skills. It was just a simple straight punch. The electric net seemed to have hit a barrier as it was instantly blocked amidst that low explosion sound. Mo Lan felt a mixed feeling of shock and rage. She angrily shouted, "You dare attack us?" Xiao Bai did not even budge. Her mission was to protect Mo Lan and not the others. Moreover, she wanted to see just how strong Tang Wulin was, since he was so easily able to immobilize the soldiers inside the cafe. Two huge dueling swords simultaneously slashed out from the sides. The two yellow mechas had made their moves. Their target was still Tang Wulin. Tang San's soul cannon was also aimed at Tang Wulin as well. Tang San's thoughts were very clear in his mind. They would capture Tang Wulin in the shortest possible time and report back to their superiors. As for the procedures after that, their superiors would naturally take care of them. In an instant, the four mechas had launched melee and long-range attacks against Tang Wulin. Since they were able to carry out a mission inside Mingtu City, they were undoubtedly the best among the elite warriors of the army. Whether it was their individual strength or their combat skills, they were both very powerful. They were clearly a cut above the mecha masters of the same rank. However, they did not know what kind of opponent they were facing. The first Federal Star Do Battle Network Challenge double winner, known as the Golden Dragon King, regarded as the most powerful expert of the young generation, and the leader of the current Shrek 7 monsters, Tang Wulin. Clang! The air seemed to have frozen over when the two dueling swords hit. The mecha masters of the four mechas along with Tang San stared at this scene with their mouths agape. In the face of the attacks from the two dueling swords, Tang Wulin did not even unleash his martial soul. He had not unleashed his battle armor or mecha, nor did he dodge. He only reacted with a simple action. He raised his arms and spread them out. The pair of dueling swords slashed his open palms. To mention it in another way, he had just spread his arms and grabbed the pair of dueling swords that had incredible imposing air and more than 10 tons of explosive energy. The two yellow mechas felt as if they had not slashed a human's body, but an extremely hard metal. The two dueling swords abruptly stopped. The same thoughts appeared in their minds at the same time. How is this possible? Without using his martial soul or weapons, how is it possible for him to block a mecha's attack with just a human body? Is he still human? They were stunned, but Tang Wulin was not. In the next instant, he strongly shook his hands. The mecha masters lost control of their yellow mechas as they swayed and heavily crashed onto the ground. The two dueling swords fell out of their hands at the same time. Tang Wulin threw them away. They cut the two purple mecha soul cannons and forcibly deflected their aims toward the skies. Their ammunition rose into the skies and erupted like dazzling fireworks. They had still failed to cause any damage to Tang Wulin. Even Xiao Bai, who had worn a cold expression since the start, started looking at Tang Wulin with heavy eyes. Is he still human? In her eyes, Tang Wulin was essentially a fierce dragon in human form. Bare hands. He used his bare hands. She did not sense even an ounce of soul power from Tang Wulin. He had forcibly blocked two mechas and defeated two mechas with his bare hands. He's not human. This guy was definitely not human. Tang Wulin had already leaped into the air. He seemed to have just swayed his body and he was already right before Tang Zihao's mecha. He tapped the mecha's knee with the tip of his toes. The massive powerful purple mecha gave off a deafening exploding sound from its knee joint and its knee shattered. Tang Wulin rode the momentum as he jumped and landed a punch on the purple mecha's waist. Boom! As he listened to the deafening siren, Tang Zihao felt his beloved mecha fall to the side. He was still in a half-dazed state. To be able to become a squadron leader of Mingju City's garrison command, his combat experience was quite rich. However, never before had he met an opponent like this. Is this person really a human? Currently, there was only this one thought in Tang Zihao's mind. In the next instant, his mecha had already crashed onto the ground. At the same time, Tang Wulin suddenly changed direction in midair. The wind elements gathered around him and propped his body up. He pounced toward the final purple mecha with a diversion angle that appeared to defy all laws of physics. Boom! The soul cannon was finally fired. The massive ammunition seemed to have almost devoured Tang Wulin's body in an instant. Mo Lan could not stifle her surprised scream. No matter how domineering she had become compared to before, she was still a lady. Without a martial soul as her shield, there was nothing she could do. She did not even have enough time to order Xiao Bai to help him at the moment. However, a worry turned to shock in the very next instant. From Mo Lan's perspective, the soul ammunition that devoured Tang Wulin's body seemed to have vanished in the blink of an eye. It had lost all traces of existence in an instant. Tang Wulin walked out from the aftershock made by the ammunition and flew toward the purple mecha like a shooting star. The mecha activated all of its barriers and threw a punch. This purple mecha's mecha master had pretty good reflexes, but everything he did was for naught in the face of absolute strength. Boom! From Tang Wulin's jade-white fist, a terrifying explosive force burst forth as if it came straight from the hell. The purple mecha's barriers instantly shattered. Even its metal fist was shattered completely as its body fell backward. Tang Wulin threw a punch with his left hand. When he swung his fist, one could see that the air around his fist being compressed by some invisible force. It bent the light until it formed a distorted halo around it. Then the piercing noise of an explosion echoed. The purple mecha seemed to have been hit by some invisible force on its chest. It reeled and heavily crashed onto the ground. Air cannon! Of course, Tang Wulin could not use Yuan and Yehue's soul skill. He was only mimicking Yuan and Yehue's ability with pure strength. 1 against 4. While he faced the 4 mechas, he had only relied on pure strength and spiritual power to control the battlefield from the beginning until the end. This was what true strength was. He lightly dropped to the ground. The 4 mechas had lost their ability to fight. At this moment, police cars with their blaring sirens arrived and swiftly surrounded the scene. Mo Lan could not help and said, "The police cars are always late." She even glared at Xiao Bai after saying this. She seemed to be reprimanding her for not helping out in the situation before. Xiao Bai had a slightly helpless look. Her gaze toward Tang Wulin was starkly different from the icy coldness at the start. It was fanaticism towards an opponent. Even though she could not figure out Tang Wulin's exact cultivation base, she knew he was capable of defeating Fomechas just by relying on his physical strength. Regardless of his martial soul, he should not be looked down upon. Mo Lan was well aware of the delicate situation with Tang Wulin's identity now, so she did not mention to anyone that he was a student of Shrek Academy. Thus, Xiao Bai was oblivious to this, but she knew that the man before her was very powerful. He was more formidable than she had imagined and was a rather impressive opponent. Tang Wulin returned to Mo Lan's side smoothly and smiled at her. He stood quietly behind her and acted as if everything that had happened earlier was not his own doing at all. The police arrived like a swarm of bees. Their equipment was simpler and less sophisticated than that of the soldiers. Nevertheless, they were still representatives of the public security force of the entire Mingju city regardless. The first group of police officers was taken aback upon seeing the 4 mechas lying on the ground. The leading police sergeant with a high rank set his eyes on Mo Lan as he ran over quickly. "MP Madam Mo Lan, are you all right? What happened here?" Mo Lan glared at him coldly as she spoke with a look of fury. The military was arresting people in the cafe in broad daylight, despite having no warrant. Not only that, but they were also carrying standard military-grade weapons to threaten the public. In the end, they did not even spare their mechas. "I wish to inquire, who is it that authorized this? Could it be that taxpayer money armed them just so they could turn their muzzles back at us? The military's abusive behavior has already threatened the entire Federation's stability and unity. I would like to ask all of you to investigate this." Sweat immediately broke out on the high-ranking police sergeant's forehead. He could tell at first glance that the situation before his eyes was not a small issue. He felt even more troubled upon listening to Mo Lan's words. Of course, he was aware that MP Mo Lan was a representative from the Dove faction. Though she was young, she was a very strong candidate within the faction. It was especially obvious after the shifts in the new term that she was just an incorruptible in addition to her family being victims of Holy Spirit cult's cruelty. As a result, she was left all alone in this world without the slightest fear of unseen threats. She stood at the forefront during a few confrontations with the Hawk faction and received the full support from the old and new members of the Dove faction. Even so, the police sergeant could not afford to offend the other side either, given that it was the military. Were they allowed to confront the military forces as mere police officers? If they were not careful, they would end up in deep trouble. Instantly, he had an idea and he swiftly replied, "MP Madam Mo Lan, we will certainly handle this incident fairly. We will first take these soldiers back to the police station on the double." Mo Lan nodded. "I'll continue to follow up on this matter. Please report to me at any time." "Yes." The high-ranking police sergeant saluted her before he immediately led the police officers to handle the soldiers. At the same time, they began to take down statements from the people who had been inside the cafe to verify the specific sequence of events that took place. The soldiers that were captured remained in a state of silence. However, the police still managed to clarify the situation soon through the words of the bystanders. There was no doubt that the military was absolutely in the wrong. They were arresting people without permission. Moreover, it was done without an arrest warrant. These soldiers and mechas had all belonged to the Mingju Garrison Command. The Garrison Command was in charge of matters pertaining to the defense of Mingju, but the act of utilizing the army to arrest people without permission was not a small issue anymore. It would be very easy to find out the jurisdiction of these soldiers just by tracking the designation of their military unit. The soldiers' refusal to speak was showing that they were waiting for their superior to manage this incident. At the moment, they would never consent to speak no matter what. At Mo Lan's side, Tang Wulin was watching the situation unfold with a cold gaze. He considered the police's way of handling the situation rather appropriate. For mecha masters in the mechas were invited to come out. They were guarded temporarily and the same was done to the soldiers inside the cafe. They would be interrogated separately later. Just as the police were about to transport these soldiers back to the police station, all of a sudden, a military vehicle drove over at full speed. It was apparent that Tang Zihao was relieved upon seeing the car. The The superior officers were here, so the incident would not be pinned on them anymore. In reality, what they had done on this day would result in a court-martial if someone were to pursue the matter seriously. The military vehicle abruptly stopped. An officer with a lieutenant colonel military rank pinned to his shoulders came out from the car escorted by two majors by his side. "Hold on." The lieutenant colonel walked in great strides and arrived before the high-ranking police sergeant. He raised his hand in an attempt to stop the police from continuing to take the soldiers into the police wagons. "We are from the Inspection Control Unit of the Garrison Command. What happened here? I heard that our soldiers are reporting that there was a misunderstanding with your police unit." The police sergeant's rank was equal to this military officer's. He replied with a deep voice, "There was a conflict that took place earlier. These Garrison Command soldiers received some unknown authorities' order to use their standard military weapons to threaten the public, and they couldn't produce any arrest warrant. They had even used their mechas to attack these citizens. We're going to investigate this case properly so that we can provide a proper explanation to the people. Thus, I'm going to take these soldiers back to our department so that they can continue to cooperate with our investigations." "No. Personnel from the military should be handled by our military. This is unrelated to you. Please hand over this case to us. We'll notify you when there are any new developments." As he was speaking, the lieutenant colonel waved his hand to signal for the over a dozen soldiers, armed with loaded weapons, to come down from the vehicle and block the path of the police. There was no doubt that the police came in greater numbers, but they were much weaker when compared to these actual soldiers, judging by their equipment and fighting capacity. "Very well." Mo Lan spoke coldly, "I've finally had a first-hand glimpse of the military's strength." "Who are you?" asked the lieutenant colonel as he darted his eyes at her. Mo Lan answered calmly, "I'm no one but an ordinary citizen." "Why? Could it be that I'm not allowed to speak the truth?" The lieutenant colonel coldly replied, "This is the official business of the military. Those without authorization are to leave immediately. Otherwise, it's a crime for instigating the military's political situation." Mo Lan laughed, for this was truly a convenient case of someone sending over a pillow when one was drowsy. She was just concerned about her lack of knowledge of the military's involvement, which could keep the Hawk faction's people in check. Xiao Bai raised her arm and used her soul communicator to record the scene that was taking place before her eyes. "What are you doing? You're not allowed to record this." The lieutenant colonel had a swift reaction when he noticed what Xiao Bai was doing. Dashing over, a major arrived before Xiao Bai. He raised her hand as he grabbed her arm. Xiao Bai gave out an indignant grunt. She swung her left hand forward at lightning speed, causing the major to let out a muffled groan. He fell back a few steps before he lowered his head and stared at his hand. He saw something had been branded onto his palm. Upon closer inspection, one would discover that it was tiny wording saying, "Federal Bureau of Central Guards." The major had a drastic change of expression upon reading these words. He was well aware of the Federal Bureau of Central Guards. This person was an elite powerhouse in charge of the security of the federal government's top officers. One would need to have at least a 5-ringed Soul King cultivation base and also be a mecha master of at least purple rank to be enlisted into the Federal Bureau of Central Guards, so she must be a mecha master as well. The appearance of an officer from the Federal Bureau of Central Guards revealed the identity of the middle-aged woman who spoke earlier. "Very well. All of you dare to attack the military." The lieutenant colonel had only seen that his comrade was struck back by Xiao Bai, so he did not know the specifics of the situation and was about to lose his temper. On the other hand, the major was no fool. He returned to the lieutenant colonel's side rapidly and raised his palm for his superior to see. The lieutenant colonel's expression changed as well upon reading the words on the major's palm, for he knew that he was in deep trouble. The most important mission for the Federal Bureau of Central Guards was to protect the members of Parliament. Only the members of Parliament were qualified to be protected by them and, in fact, not every member qualified. There was no doubt that the middle-aged woman before him was a member of Parliament. Moreover, he could tell that this was a member of Parliament who did not have a good relationship with the military, judging from her attitude. Even though the Hawk faction occupied the dominant position right now, in reality, they would still need the people's backing in the grand election and during the decision-making process of great importance. He was afraid that the military's image would be badly tarnished if this matter today was not handled properly. They had not intended for this small matter to cause a scene, but he did not expect that it would go this far. He could not keep from looking door. Mo Lan spoke calmly. Why? Do you wish to take me along as well? I'd like to see who dares to prevent the police's official business. Many different feelings rippled across the lieutenant colonel's face. He knew that this would be very difficult if he were to allow the police to take away his people. Even a high-ranking officer from the military dared not act rashly in such a situation. After all, the Dolor Federation was still a democratic continent. We'll discuss more after we take our men. The lieutenant colonel made a prompt decision. As he waved his hand and gave the order, he walked to the front of Xiao Bai in great strides and used his body to block her shot. He did not even take a glance at Mo Lan as he pretended not to recognize her identity. He looked at Xiao Bai calmly. Miss, please do not continue to record anymore. Please be concerned for the sake of our reputation. We shall repay your kindness in the future. Xiao Bai shifted her gaze ever so slightly. Step aside. The lieutenant colonel looked at her coldly, but he did not budge. Xiao Bai took a step to the side and he immediately followed as well. Xiao Bai frowned. She turned her head to the side to look toward Mo Lan. As the officer from the Federal Bureau of Central Guards, she was allowed to act accordingly to handle all sorts of situations when Mo Lan was threatened. However, the person before hers was a military officer, after all, so she was acting cautiously until she received an order from Mo Lan. Just a clear voice called out, so is the military allowed to bully others? Is the military allowed to act with impunity? Soon after, there was a hand on the lieutenant colonel's shoulder. The lieutenant colonel turned his head sideways to take a look and saw a handsome face. Just as he was staring at this unknown figure, he was shocked when the pupils suddenly turned into slits. In that split second, he could sense an intense terror that made his hair stand up, despite his six-ringed Soul Emperor cultivation base. Then he was pulled to the side, unable to put up even the slightest resistance. The trembling that came from the depths of his heart caused the lieutenant colonel's body shudder all over. Tang Wulin's hand on his shoulder had not exerted any strength, but it made him so fearful that he dared not make a move. Xiao Bai continued to record while the police were already caught in a confrontation with the military officers. If this had been an ordinary day, the high-ranking police sergeant might have taken advantage of the favorable situation and allowed the military officers to take back their people. Yet, he could not do so this time. He was standing before Mo Lan, so he reckoned he would be stripped of his uniform by the next day if he were to permit the military officers to leave with the perpetrators. No one moves. The high-ranking police sergeant blocked the soldiers' path. However, the soldiers were only following the orders of their commanding officer. The soldier at the forefront raised his Soul Beam assault rifle and swung its handle at the police sergeant. This soldier decided that it was more important to grab his people first and did not care about anything else. Naturally, the high-ranking police sergeant had not attained his position by being an ordinary person either. Light flashed across his body as 4 soul rings rose from his feet. He grabbed the Soul Beam assault rifle with one of his hands and flung it straight at the soldier. At once, the weapons in the soldier's hands were all aimed at the police sergeant. Instantly, the entire scene seemed like it was in danger of spiraling out of control. Stop, someone called out gently. A person was seen running from the distance in quick strides. It's her. Tang Wulin's expression immediately turned unpleasant upon seeing who it was. Compared to her disheveled state the previous night, Xinxing was like an entirely different person. She appeared valiant and heroic in her military uniform with her 2-striped and 2-starred lieutenant colonel rank pinned to her shoulders. It was not a simple task for her to achieve such a rank in the army at her age. Tang Wulin looked at her coldly. He did not doubt that the day's turn of events was all her doing. She intended to capture Tang Wulin all along, but she ended up causing such chaos. However, this also showed that she was backed up by rather powerful forces, or she would not have dared to mobilize the military so easily in Mingtu. Xinxing quickly walked to the front of the high-ranking police sergeant. She spoke apologetically, "I'm sorry. Please don't detain our people." Upon saying that, she swiftly moved to Mo Lan. Under Tang Wulin's attentive gaze, she gave Mo Lan a huge bear hug. It was as though she was a timid and affectionate woman, and Tang Wulin stared at her in bewilderment. "Sister Mo Lan, why are you here?" Mo Lan could not help being stunned for a moment upon seeing her. "Little Xing, what are you here for?" Xinxing straightened her charming expression. She came close to Lan and whispered into her ears. Mo Lan had a strange look on her face upon listening to her words. "You must be joking. The military is the symbolic seal of our country. How could you mobilize the army because of your private affairs? What if you accidentally injured a bystander?" Xinxing lowered her head and acted as if she was a little girl caught misbehaving. "Good sister, is it not enough that I know my own mistake? I wouldn't dare do this again in the future. Please don't tell my father and sister, or else I'll be in deep trouble. I'm finished if my superiors were to find out about this case. Good sister, I beg of you, please." Tang Wulin was already stunned as he watched from the side. Xinxing's exchange of words with Mo Lan earlier sounded soft, but how could he possibly not think of her as a Soul Sage rank powerhouse? She told Mo Lan that Tang Wulin was her boyfriend and that they had had a quarrel earlier. She was angry, so she wished to bring him in for a discussion. As a result, she mobilized the army in a moment of rage. This genuinely left Tang Wulin slightly speechless. What was this nonsense? Since when did he become her boyfriend? In any case, Mo Lan's expression revealed something to Tang Wulin. There was no doubt that she disliked the military very much as the representative of the Dove faction. Yet, Tang Wulin could tell from her attitude toward Xinxing that the lieutenant colonel was not an ordinary person. The powers backing Xinxing would not make Mo Lan so fearful, but it meant Mo Lan had no choice but to handle Xinxing calmly. Otherwise, Mo Lan would never behave in such a way. Mo Lan turned her head to the side and looked at Tang Wulin. Tang Wulin did not utter a word because he knew that it was best that he maintained his silence in this situation. He did not wish to cause more chaos here and reveal his identity. "Just this once and I won't be so lenient a second time. However, I must tell your sister about this matter here." "You can ask her to keep it from your father," said Mo Lan in an unpleasant tone. "Thank you, sister. You're the best." Xinxing was overjoyed, so she wrapped her arms around Mo Lan and swayed back and forth. Mo Lan spoke with slight helplessness, "Silly little girl. You've made people worry about you. What a waste, what a waste." Words were referring to this particular case. Mo Lan agreed to handle this case without making it too public, so it would be much easier to deal with the rest of the matters. The police were only too pleased to not have to offend the armed forces, while the military got out of there as fast as possible, hoping to distance themselves from the whole thing. Xinxing stood by Mo Lan's side and looked at Tang Wulin with a furious expression. She thought to herself in secret, "It is all his fault. Nothing good ever happens as long as he's around. Sister Mo Lan caught me misbehaving this time. This is simply too infuriating." The thing that led to Tang Wulin's discovery was indeed the vendor selling cigarettes outside the cafe earlier. Xinxing's clan that supported her was also in control of an extremely large information network. The network was inclusive of people from all over, including small tradesmen and porters. Tang Wulin's current appearance was uploaded to the internal information network for a search in Mingju. The vendor shared the information immediately after discovering Tang Wulin, which was how the entire incident came to pass. It had been a while since Xinxing had arrived. She had been hoping to capture Tang Wulin, but she did not expect that Tang Wulin could deal with Fomechas barehanded with such ease. Then, she noticed Mo Lan's presence. Of course, she was aware of the problems between Mo Lan and the military. She watched helplessly as the situation worsened to an unmanageable extent before she hastily came out and eased the tension. "It's all your fault." Xinxing mouthed her accusation silently at Tang Wulin. As Tang Wulin watched her lips move, he turned his head to the side and put on the hat without paying any attention to her. Xinxing was immediately frustrated. Boy, don't you end up in my grasp. On the other hand, she also noticed that his appearance seemed to be even more handsome than before, as if there was something else added to him. Being raised in a military clan, Shenxing was very sensitive to a soldier's aura. It was as if she could sense a familiar aura emitting from Tang Wulin's body, just like his father and grandfather. Even though she refused to admit it, she understood, deep down, that her heart had made space that only this boy could fill. You should just go back. Don't behave so stubbornly in the future, said Mo Lan to Shenxing, slightly exasperated. Shenxing stuck out her tongue and pointed to Tang Wulin. She said, Sister, can you please allow me to take him with me? At this point, she blushed involuntarily. Her acting was impressive. Could it be that she was trained on the Demon Island too? Tang Wulin could not help feeling speechless as he watched Shenxing's pretentious performance. Mo Lan looked at her, then at Tang Wulin. She felt uncertain in her heart. Of course, she did not believe Shenxing, as Tang Wulin had just arrived at the place. How could he possibly be Shenxing's boyfriend? However, she thought it was a bad idea to expose her on the spot. She could not allow Shenxing to take Tang Wulin due to his sensitive status. He's my brother. You can solve the problem between yourselves later on. I've made arrangements for him today. Go home first. When she had finished talking, Mo Lan looked rather displeased. Shenxing dared not utter another word. She stuck out her tongue and glared at Tang Wulin fiercely. She then turned around and left, showing her recalcitrance. Tang Wulin was about to say something as he watched her departing figure, but he stopped upon seeing Mo Lan's hand gesture. Xiao Bai drove Mo Lan's car over. It was an unsophisticated, ordinary soul car. Tang Wulin immediately understood her intention. Both of them boarded the car with Xiao Bai as the driver. They headed toward the city center. Mo Lan did not speak much during the journey. She appeared deep in thought. Tang Wulin did not speak either, as he remained quietly by her side. It did not take long before Xiao Bai arrived at the underground garage of a building. The three of them got down from the car and boarded an elevator. The elevator ascended all the way to the top floor. Mo Lan said to Xiao Bai, go home first. Don't report today's incident. Let's just act like nothing happened, all right? Yes, understood. Xiao Bai took a glance at Tang Wulin out of curiosity before she went into the elevator and left. Mo Lan brought Tang Wulin into a room. The room was very spacious, with a floor size of almost 200 square meters. The decoration of the room was simple, yet appeared sophisticated. Since it was on the top floor, the scenery outside the French window was spectacular. Tang Wulin could see far into the distance. The roads were crowded with people and vehicles. A block of steel buildings came into view. Mo Lan turned on the lights and pulled down the curtains before pressing a button. With his sharp senses, Tang Wulin immediately noticed that the entire room seemed to be enshrouded in an energy shield. There was no way a detector outside could probe the situation here. All right, you can now speak at will. Wulin, it seems like you're in trouble. What's going on with you and Shenxing? It was not an easy task for Mo Lan to refrain herself from asking until now. Tang Wulin spoke with slight helplessness. It's a coincidence that I'm acquainted with her. It's a long story. Back in the beginning, he explained how he was sent to receive military training on the Demon Island back in the beginning, and his encounter with Shenxing later in the North Sea Army Corps, followed by how he had abducted her, including their encounter this time and his summary of the situation. Mo Lan listened to his narrative in all seriousness. In the beginning, she was frowning, but her expression began to relax gradually. Toward the end, a gaze at Tang Wulin revealed she was holding back a smile. Sister, that's everything that happened. Why are you looking at me like that? Tang Wulin was feeling slightly embarrassed from her stare. Mo Lan chuckled. I was under the impression that the military had been keeping an eye on you since you had exposed your identity. I didn't expect the young girl Shenxing to harbor lustful desires. Well, my brother is so good-looking and capable. Which girl wouldn't be attracted to you? Why don't you just listen to her and call it a day? Shenxing is a decent girl. Although she is born into a distinguished clan, she has never been involved in any scandals. Her clan upholds a strict upbringing. I suppose something like this has never happened before. Consider yourself fortunate. Tang Wulin spoke helplessly. Sister, please don't make fun of me. How can I ever possibly be with her? I already have someone I love. Based on what you've said, it sounds like you have a relationship with her clan. Mo Lan nodded, then heaved a soft sigh. I was rather hoping that the people I encountered today are from the opposing side. If that were the case, we'd then have the opportunity to launch a campaign against the military. I aim to, at least, reduce the military's influence. However, the Shen clan is not good with that. In reality, the military is not an iron sheet either. After many years of development, the clan is very powerful at influencing the military. A few regions have formed on the continent. A few of the great clans have their very own regions. Their strengths are deeply ingrained in these regions, so it's very difficult to dislodge their positions which even the federal government does not meddle with. After all, any politician who wishes to advance in the government needs the support of these clans. Tang Wulin had an idea in his mind. So, you're saying that the Shen clan is related to the Dove faction? Mo Lan nodded. There are 5 great clans in the military and the Shen clan is one of them. It's also the only clan that supports our Dove faction. As the head of the clan, Shen Xing's grandfather is also the federal army chief with a senior general rank. He is one of the 3 great leaders in the federal army with the same rank as the Federation's commander-in-chief. He's also the minister of general equipment. The Shen clan's territory includes the North Sea Army Corps and the Mingju Garrison Command. They are extremely powerful and assumes command of the center. Our Dove faction remained safe when we were in power back in the beginning and were not targeted by the Hawk faction's backhanded moves. We owe it to the Shen clan. The Shen clan remains aloof in the society and advocates peaceful development. As in today's case, even I have no choice but to let it go. Otherwise, a strike at the Shen clan will certainly result in serious repercussions to our status. Tang Wulin was suddenly enlightened. No wonder Mo Lan was willing to let Shen Xing go and not mind letting the opportunity slip by. Do the rest of the 4 great military clans support the Hawk faction? Asked Tang Wulin. Mo Lan shook her head. There are 3 clans that support the Hawk faction with the Qiangu clan as their leader. There's also the Southern Army Corps Yu clan that supports the independent faction. Yu clan? Isn't that Yu Zhengyu's clan? Tang Wulin felt relieved that 2 out of the 5 great clans did not support the Hawk faction. The situation was better than he had imagined. No wonder the Dove faction was still capable of maintaining the current political situation. However, the situation doesn't look so good. Mo Lan heaved a sigh. Ever since Qiangu Dongfeng became the pagoda master of the Spirit Pagoda, the Qiangu clan's development is advancing at a tremendous pace. Right now, the Qiangu clan is out of control. More than 1/5 of the seats inside the parliament is wholly controlled by them. This situation has never occurred before in the history of the parliament. Tang Wulin was horrified. Under such circumstances, could it be that the Federation doesn't have any other solution? So their clan should just be allowed to continue the monopoly? If this continues, wouldn't the Qiangu clan be a dictatorship in the future? Mo Lan spoke with a deep voice. We've already had many discussions over this matter. However, the Qiangu clan is extremely cunning. On the surface, it appears they only control a few seats. It wouldn't have any effect even if we managed to launch an attack. Many people who are on their side are not forthright about it. Tang Wulin frowned deeply. Sister, what do you think? Is the surprise attack of Shrek City connected to them? Mo Lan took a glance at him. It's not right for me to conclude this matter. However, I can tell you that it's highly possible. The Qiangu clan keeps a low profile. They would not reveal their presence if not for the pagoda master of the Spirit Pagoda, Qiangu Dongfeng's presence. No one knows the extent of the support behind the Qiangu clan, but the clan has a long history and quite profound inner secrets. Shrek Academy was the leading academy on the continent. It's a powerful pillar supporting the independent faction. The independent faction's other main pillar is the Tang sect. The other forces daren't look down on the independent faction. When Shrek Academy and the Tang sect both existed, whether it was the Dove faction or the Hawk faction which was dominant, no one dared to be extreme in fear of the independent faction's interference. The independent faction appeared to be the weakest, but Shrek Academy and the Tang sect's lineages have their profound inner secrets which have been passed down for over 20,000 years, especially the elites from Shrek Academy who are in all the factions. These elites have a strong sense of loyalty to the Academy. Thus, Shrek Academy is certainly like a thorn in the flesh for some people. The surprise raid on the Academy certainly required more than 1 or 2 days of planning. At this point, Mo Lan paused for a moment. Wu Lin, what are your future plans? If you wish to revive the Academy, don't even think about it. Why? Said Tang Wu Lin. Mo Lan spoke with a bitter smile. It's too difficult. To revive Shrek Academy, you will be opposing all the great clans, including the Shin clan and the Yu clan. No one wishes for a powerful Shrek to appear once again because Shrek Academy's existence suppresses all the other clans. Do you understand what I'm saying? Tang Wulin's gaze froze for a moment. So you're saying that the 5 great clans all played a part in the operation against Shrek back in the beginning? Mo Lan shook her head. It's not that. I don't know who did it specifically, but in terms of interests, the powerful Shrek Academy was suppressing all the sects and clans such that the continent remained at peace for so many years. Do you think that the Hawk faction's intention to move against the Star Luo Empire was only for 1 or 2 days? Ever since the Federation was founded, I've lost count of the number of people who wished to wage a war. It had always been Shrek Academy's mediation and repression which prevented a war from happening. Right now, war is inevitable. There's no way we can stop it even if we exhausted ourselves. It's precisely because we've already lost the main pillar, Shrek. Under such circumstances, who do you think is willing to support another Shrek being reborn? It's impossible. Once you're engaged in rebuilding Shrek, you'll have to confront the 5 great clans. The Spirit Pagoda and the Holy Spirit cult are hiding in the dark now. Any one of these opponents is capable of crushing you to pieces. It's truly too difficult. Little brother, I understand what you're thinking. As the leader of the current generation's Shrek 7 monsters, it's your responsibility as you're duty-bound. However, will you please not act rashly before you've grown into a towering tree? I've already lost too many family members. I don't want to lose you in the future as well. At this point, Mo Lan's eyes turned red, revealing her true sentiments. Tang Wulin had always known that his mission to revive Shrek Academy was unimaginably difficult. However, he had not expected it to be difficult to this extent. As mentioned by Mo Lan, he was about to confront all the great forces of the entire Doluo Federation once he engaged in rebuilding Shrek. All these great forces did not hope to see the powerful Shrek reborn. This will be the biggest challenge he was about to face. Was he to give up just because it was difficult? As the leader of the Shrek 7 monsters, he would need to embark on this path regardless. In any case, Mo Lan's advice reminded him not to act rashly before he was well prepared. Even if the Federation waged war against the Do Spirit Empire and the Star Luo Empire, it would not be suitable for him to disclose the plan of rebuilding Shrek as there was still much preparation to be done covertly. Sister, don't worry. I won't act rashly until I'm confident. I'll also hasten my growth as well. It was heart-wrenching as Tang Wulin held Mo Lan's hands and looked at her streaming tears. Only a short while ago, Sister Mo Lan had a happy family. The situation was so different right now. He would need to sort out his thoughts again and accumulate his strength in secret as well. He would have to strive for more support, so he could stand firmly in rebuilding Shrek. Tang Wulin continued consulting Mo Lan on the continent's present political situation, especially about the military's current preparation for war. Mo Lan still had a good understanding of the situation in the military. She told him that the North Sea Army Corps and the East Sea Army Corps were used as bases to gather military strength. Undoubtedly, the Doluo Federation was the most advanced when it came to soul weapons. Following the development of soul technology, an army's troop numbers could not be used to determine the outcome of a modernized war. Meanwhile, the Federation was expediting the construction of giant-sized battleships. Even though Sol fighter aircraft were engaged in long-range battles, it was difficult to maintain a consistent supply route. On the other hand, giant-sized battleships were developed such that they were capable of transporting fighter aircraft and supplies. It would be a strategic weapon for military attacks against the Do Spirit Empire and the Star Luo Empire. The publicity campaign promoting the preparation for war was carried out intensely. According to Mo Lan's estimation, it would take about a year for the preparations. Sister Mo Lan, if the Federation were to wage war, could it be that the Federation is not planning to clean up its internal affairs? If the issue with the Holy Spirit cult is not taken care of, what is the Federation going to do when the Holy Spirit cult creates trouble within the Federation when the war is ongoing? Mo Lan spoke with a bitter smile. Your question is our ploy to rile up the Hawk faction at present. However, the Holy Spirit cult is shrewd and reticent. There's utterly no way we can get involved without having accurate information. The Hawk faction's idea is that we can't give up eating for fear of choking. We can't allow the Holy Spirit cult to affect the entire Federation's strategy. The Hawk faction is now supporting the research in cosmic exploration. They advocate the research of aerospace craft as well. Also, they've also proposed to search for planets which are suitable for mankind. As it is, the entire continent's resources are depleting. There are not many resources remaining for research after fulfilling the necessities of the continent. On the other hand, the Star Luo continent and the Do Spirit continent are filled with abundant resources. For the development of mankind, war is necessary since these two empires will never give us their resources. It's only by unifying the entire Dolor planet that we'll be able to develop better soul technology to conquer the universe. Tang Wulin was speechless, but he could not deny that the Hawk faction's statement made a valid point. Nevertheless, the common people would be the first to suffer when war was initiated. The citizens of both the Do Spirit Empire and the Star Luo Empire were part of mankind too, who originated from the Dolor continent back in the beginning. They were similarly born of the same ancestors. How could one conscientiously harm them? Mo Lan spoke with a bitter smile. The Hawk faction's maneuver has support from the independent faction. Moreover, they've received the common people's support as well. After all, the war is not waged on our continent. It's in a distant foreign land and it will not result in much loss for our people. This is the main reason why they are willing to accept this proposal. Tang Wulin frowned deeply. All wars are mutually devastating. It's a short-sighted plan. Since the Holy Spirit cult is capable of destroying Shrek City, it's possible they can destroy any city of ours. Don't deal with the formidable enemy first, but they've yet to figure out a strategy. This is truly... Mo Lan heaved a sigh. It's useless to comment on this anymore. The war will inevitably occur. The Hawk faction has mentioned that the War God Hall is going to cooperate with the Spirit Pagoda to guard the Federation in dealing with the Holy Spirit cult anytime. Furthermore, they are willing to bear the responsibility if there is a recurrence of the Holy Spirit cult's massacre. We've kept silent on this. Tang Wulin spoke. So, does the Dove faction have any follow-up strategy to deal with the Hawk faction? Mo Lan shook her head. We've yet to find any effective breakthrough, so we can only protect our strengths as much as possible at present. It's also why I've no choice but to concede the incident with the Shen clan earlier. Wulin, the strength of a single person is too small. Even if you're capable of growing into a top-grade powerhouse in the future, you're still on your own. Don't ever act on impulse. Tang Wulin nodded quietly. Understood. Don't worry, I won't act rashly and I'll exercise propriety in whatever I do. Moreover, I think I've figured out how to deal with all these too. Sister, I'll leave now. We'll keep in touch. Mo Lan accompanied him until the outside of the building. She gazed after Tang Wulin's departing figure as he boarded a rental car. She exclaimed in her heart, "Oh brother, you're so young, and yet you're putting so much burden on yourself." There was not much she could do to help him at present. Tang Wulin immediately began meditating when he returned to his residence. He was going to rehash his thoughts and make certain improvements to some of his initial plans. It was, of course, important to rebuild Shrek Academy. There was certainly no point denying this. However, it seemed impossible for him to achieve his initial idea, as he could not rebuild the academy just by summoning Shrek Academy supporters and making a public appeal. This video will end here. Like video and subscribe to my channel.